of river flow data available, as we often have in hydrological studies or in water engineering investigations, this class will explain how can you separate such a time series of river flows in its different subflows, which is part 1 of the class, and part 2 of the class will be how can we extract from such a time series extreme flows, like high flows, like low flows. To start the first part of the course on subflow separation, let me first of all show you this slide. As you know from basic hydrology, catchment rainfall runoff can occur in different subflows. There is rainfall which is falling on the catchment. This rainfall might lead to overland flow, which is in fact surface runoff, runoff over the surface in the catchment, which at the end might reach a river system. Part of the rainfall can also infiltrate in the soil. This water can be stored in the subsurface part of the soil, or it can reach the river system by interflow, by subsurface runoff. Part of the water can also further percolate to the groundwater body, and part of this groundwater can reach the river system in the form of groundwater runoff. This groundwater runoff is also called base flow because it will determine the base flows, the low flows that you can still have in a river system during long dry periods. This is another diagram showing the main runoff processes occurring in a catchment. You can see again the overland flow, the interflow and the base flow as the main processes. Of course, there are many more processes happening in such a catchment, but if you look to the main ones, then these can be grouped in these 3 components. The overland flow is a quick process, the interflow is a slower process, and the base flow is the slowest. It is hard to measure rainfall runoff directly. That's why we most often make use of indirect observations, for instance based on river flow observed by a gauging station. The river flow is indeed representative of the total catchment runoff upstream of the location of such a gauging station. This is an example of a time series of river flows that was observed by a river gauging station. So what you see here is in a dark blue color the total flow as observed by the gauging station. Now what is also shown in the figure is the result of subflow separation, where we have splitted this total flow in its 3 components: the base flow, the interflow, and the rest fraction, the rest flow, the overland flow. This is another time series of river flow observations, but now for a longer time period. This is a time period of about 1 year. Again, in dark blue color you see the total river flow observations, but you also see the result from subflow separation. This time it's only the base flow that is shown, the pink series, and you can see that the base flow is identified here as a fraction of the total flow.